Our next speaker up is Robbie Kramer, who up to this point at the event has been doing the introductions. I'm doing his now, of course, because he's a speaker at this specific point. This will be his third speech at the 21 convention, last year in Orlando, Florida being his first. Just about 7 weeks ago, at the time of filming here now, he was in London, England, hosting the event, just like here, as well as giving a speech. Actually, the keynote address. Pretty big job. His speech this time around is going to be merging inner game and outer game, as you can see here at the tip of my cane. It's going to be awesome. So without further ado, I present to you guys your host, MC, and speaker, Robbie Kramer, the Hebrew Hammer of Confidence.
I love my new nickname. That's great. So, you guys have gotten to know me a little bit throughout the conference, and it's great being an MC because I'm kind of already warmed up in a cool way. That's why I do it. So, my speech today is on merging inner and outer game, as Anthony said. A lot of you guys have been coming up during the course of the weekend asking, like, are you inner game or are you outer game? And my answer is always, there should be no difference. It's all just confidence, in my opinion. So I'm going to tell you my story first, how I got into all this stuff. Growing up, I was a golf and poker geek. This is me right here. In college, I played golf for UC San Diego. Up until I was 18, my life was wake up, turn on the golf channel before school, go to school, go to the golf course, come home, watch the golf channel, go to bed. So as you can imagine, I didn't have much of a social life. I was kind of not really an introvert. I feel like I'm more of an extrovert, but throughout my time in high school, middle school, my life was golf. And then in college, I picked up poker as well. And if any of you guys play online poker, which you can't anymore in the US, but back in the day, you can basically spend hours clicking a mouse. And if you're making money, it's a pretty good thing to do, except, once again, not very social. And I realized at the end of college that I wasn't good enough for the PGA Tour. I didn't want a career as a professional poker player just because I didn't feel like that would be much of a life other than easy money. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. But a buddy of mine got a job working for a venture capital firm. And this is me at the VC firm. Got my suit on, selling these products here. And the job was to raise money for startup companies. I'd never done any sales before in my life. I had no idea how to sell anything. And I never thought of myself as a salesman. But I did know that if I learned to sell, that'd probably be a really good thing, a good life skill to have. So I said, whatever, I'll take this job. I have no other prospects. It sounds good. So I started sales. And at the same time, another friend of mine introduced me to the book, The Game. Who's read The Game? Most people. And I think a lot of people, this is kind of our introduction into personal growth. It was for me. As a guy, I was never interested in personal growth. I was like, that's for girls and gays. But hey, yeah, I'll read a book about picking up girls. That sounds great. And at first, when he showed me this book, I'm like, I don't need that stuff. I got game. Not really, but I pretended I did. And he's like, no, trust me, you want to read this book. So I turned it open, read it within like a day and a half. I think I stayed up all night. I guess I'm not that fast of a reader. Some people are like, yeah, I read it in 2 hours. Okay. So reading The Game was really cool because to me, it was like the first time in my life where I realized that there was actually a way to improve yourself in an area that was really important to me. It's like, wow, I could get better with girls? Because up until that point, the only women I had in my life were, meet a girl at a party, make out with her. She's my girlfriend for 3 years. I basically did that for 3 women throughout, high school and college. And I was always envious of those guys that could just kind of go up there, chat up a girl, take her home, and go on dates. I had never even gone on a date until I was 23 after reading The Game. I had no idea what a date was even like. So it was great to just be able to realize that I had the power to improve. And I remember the first night after reading The Game, I put it down, and after reading it, I was like, okay, there's some stuff in here that's cool. There's some stuff that's a little bit weird, but I'm willing to try anything. I had no idea what was good, what was bad. So I was like, whatever, I'll try it. Went out, and I remember one thing really stood out for me. I remember if you call a girl a cartoon character, she'll like you. I was like, okay, I'll give that a try. So I see this hot brunette. I walk up, and I'm like, hey, you kind of look like Minnie Mouse. She's like, Minnie Mouse. I'm like, yeah, Minnie Mouse. And then I was like, shit, I don't know what else to say. I'm going to go to the bathroom. So go to the bathroom, come back. I'm like, hey, Minnie Mouse, you want a shot? She's like, yeah. Okay, cool. So I go back to the bar. I get a shot for me, get a shot for her. I come back. Here you go, Minnie Mouse. She like rolls her eyes, looks at me, takes a shot. I'm like, was it good, Minnie Mouse? She's like, dude, you got to stop calling me Minnie Mouse because I actually really like you. I was like, what? This girl likes me? What do I do now? And then I remember from the game there was this, I think they called it like the evolution phase shift, where you make out with the girl by segueing, by getting her to like, bite your arm and bite your neck and do this other crazy stuff. I had no idea how to do it, but I was like, come with me, and I pulled her to the side. Like, lions, before they have sex, they bite each other. So I'm like biting her, she's biting me, we're making out. A minute later, and then she got all turned on. So I was like, hey, let's go. Dragged her into a cab, went back to my place, and we hooked up. And the whole interaction was maybe 15 minutes. And the next morning, I remember, oh my God, I found the Holy Grail. This is so easy. I just have to go up to girls and call them Minnie Mouse and do this stupid little lion biting arm gay thing, and I'll have girls every night for the rest of my life. Life is good. And then quickly, after about 3 more months of trying that every single night and 0 results, I realized, all right, maybe there's something else going on here. So that's when I decided to become a pickup artist. Now, I no longer consider myself a pickup artist. When I was trying to be a pickup artist, I certainly wasn't picking much up at all. More of a, failure artist, whatever you want to call it. But these are some of the things I tried on my endeavor to become good with women. I tried faking it till you make it. So when I give a girl the look, she knows she's coming home with me. So, trying that. Like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm confident, I'm alpha. I'm like walking around like this. That didn't work so well. I tried dressing like a homo. Wearing these silly outfits that didn't really match my personality, but because these guys said, wear these outfits and you'll be like this peacock. Okay, I'll try it. That didn't work out so hot. I tried memorizing canned material. That just put me in my head. Didn't do much for me at all. I tried trying to entertain and impress. Magic tricks, walking up, like being this court jester, this big over-the-top guy. And I got a lot of attention that way, but that's about all I got. And after a while, they're like, okay, see you later. I tried next the woo-woo years. So after trying all this outer game stuff, you could say, it wasn't really working so hot. Because I was going out and doing stuff, I was getting better. I was getting over approach anxiety. I was, definitely improving, because the ultimate thing you can always do is get experience. Like, there is no substitute for experience. So just the sheer act of going out and trying a lot of stuff was amazing. And then I heard about this stuff. I call it woo-woo, but you can call it new age things, different modalities to build your confidence. Because I realized that I didn't feel confident. I felt like I had to be this guy. I had to put on this act. And I heard that you can do this inner work and then be really confident. Like, after you do all this inner game stuff, you'll just feel like $1 million bucks. I was like, okay, I'll try it. It was expensive, but I didn't care. I was willing to put, all of my money and investment behind this because it was really the most important thing in my life. So I tried tapping on my face. Some people, I think this is called EFT. I went to a guy, he sat me down, and he starts hitting me here and here and here. I was like, what is this doing? This is not helping. But I tried it for a while, no success. Not for me. Now, I'm not saying this stuff doesn't work for some people. This didn't work for me. I tried aligning my chakras. Spent about $15,000 on a course to align my chakras because I was told that once my chakras are aligned, I could do anything, and money would flow into my life, and women would flow into my life, and I had to do nothing, just sit in a chair. So $15,000 broker, I realized aligning my chakras was probably not going to make my life that easy. So I also tried whining about my issues. Different counseling, different seminars to just talk about my emotions. And of course that helped. I think it's great to talk about your emotions and stuff like that. But in terms of getting results with women, no such luck. Reciting positive affirmations. I'm confident. I'm the best. I'm amazing. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm just saying this stuff. This isn't really working either. Shit. Getting hypnotized. You're amazing. You're confident. You're the best. Like, didn't work. So it dawned on me after doing all this stuff and spending, I think up to that point I spent about $82,000 on my personal development. You know, I was committed. You got to give me that. I was committed. And I realized that, you know, the outer stuff wasn't really working. The inner game techniques, all the inner game modalities weren't really doing much for me. But I had to learn this. I had to go through that process, because if I didn't, I would have still thought like, oh, maybe it'll work for me. So I don't discount any of this stuff and say it was a waste of time. It was really important for me to do it because I had to come to that realization. But the realization was, I knew deep down that if I didn't do the hard stuff in my life, if I didn't tackle my real goals and go after what I really wanted, I would never be the guy I wanted to be. And the biggest one for me was getting in shape. Because at the age of, let's see, I think I was 12 or 13, I was in 7th grade, asked a girl out for, I forget, I think I just asked her out to be my girlfriend. I didn't even ask her, I asked her friend. Hey, could you ask Lauren if she wants to be my girlfriend? Okay, calls up Lauren, she calls me back. Lauren's not sure, she'll tell you at school. Go to school, Lauren just wants to be friends. And I decided, okay, she wants to be friends because I'm fat. Because I was like a decently popular kid in my 7th grade class. So I decided that I was too fat to be good with girls. So that was a recurring thing. I always told myself if I was thinner, I'd be more confident. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the hard work. I'm going to lose weight. And after this conference last year, I decided that I was going to do whatever it took to lose the weight. And I knew myself, and I knew that if I made a bet with a friend where I had to lose the weight, I would lose the weight. And I told my friend, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by December 2nd, and if I don't, I owe you $3,500. And he's like, okay, escrow the money. Shit, okay. So I put the money in a bank account. He had the account. He could pull it out. I had to do it. When I put my ass on the line like that, it was really easy. I didn't lose it the perfect way. I didn't have the perfect, method for doing it, but I got the result I wanted. So that was me almost exactly a year ago. That's me in December, and I'm about the same now. So that was huge for my confidence. And it wasn't so much that I was thin, and it wasn't even so much that I was better looking or anything like that. What was huge was I accomplished something for me that was the hardest thing to do in my life. And the confidence that comes along with accomplishment is insane. Every day you wake up, and it's like Christmas, for me, Hanukkah. It's like, oh my God, I've got a good body. I don't have to look in the mirror and feel like a fat ass. So just, having that positive, it's just pure happiness, really. And I'm still riding high from that, even, 9 months later. So that was huge, and that was something that wasn't easy at all. Now, it also wasn't easy to drop all of the pickup stuff, all the gamey stuff, and be direct, be authentic, take risks with women. And I decided that if I was going to be really good, I needed to just get past my BS. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Also, learning to read women's emotions. It dawned on me that you can't just do a bunch of stuff and have them magically jump into bed with you or magically fall in love with you. You have to be, she's a person. You have to be able to read her feelings. And if you're too worried about you, you won't see anything about her. So you have to learn to read people. And women are actually easier to read than men. That's a great thing. Women are, they're open books. Their emotions are pretty obvious. Us guys are good at hiding them. Also, don't be afraid to get physical. Oops. That might be the wrong slide. Sorry. I don't know how that one got in there. Shit. So I was always scared to make the move. And I decided one day, you know what, I was just going to go for it. Maybe it wasn't the right time, maybe it wasn't the right thing to do, but I decided two things. If I went on a date with a girl, no matter what, by the end of the date, I would try to kiss her. And if a girl ever slept in my bed, I had to try to hook up with her. Because for a long time, I'd have girls sleep over, just friends, and we'd sleep in the same bed, and I'd stay up all night with a hard-on, tossing and turning, even dreaming about having sex with her, and then waking up like, damn, she's still my friend. Ugh. So it was like the most torturous thing. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. Anyone else slept in bed with a girl that was just a friend and being like the entire night just wanting to, have fun? So that was a rule too. Those two rules. And lastly, Malcolm Gladwell. Who's read Outliers? A few of you guys. I'd highly recommend it. It talks about what it takes to become just, the best in your field, a world champion. And one of the big points from the book is 10,000 hours. For most people, this is about 10 years, of about 3 hours a day. I think the math breaks down. And I've been doing this stuff now for 8 years, and I've devoted more than 3 hours a day to this for the last 8 years. I've devoted about 5 hours a day. And I'm not exaggerating. I live, breathe, sleep, social interactions, confidence, picking up women, approaching women, in relationship, out of relationship. So when I hit this 10,000 hour mark, I think I hit it probably 6 months ago, I noticed a humongous increase in just my social skills. What I like to say is once you hit a certain level, you become like a social genius. You see things that you wouldn't see before. You think about the stuff on a different level. And you get that from experience. You get that from mentors. You get it from hours and hours and hours. There's no substitute for experience. Now, great quote. Einstein, smart guy. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but no simpler. When you reach mastery in something, you realize how simple it is. In the beginning, when I started studying, how to meet women, how to build confidence, it was this big, overwhelming thing. And now it's very simple to me. And I want to help you guys make it simple. I want you guys to walk out of here and after my speech and be like, this makes a lot more sense. This is a lot more simple than I thought it was. So that's my goal. So this is for you if you want results, but you don't want to compromise your values to get them. Very important. I compromised my values for a long time, and when I got the results, I wasn't happy with the results. You want to maximize efficiency, work smarter, not harder, and you're ready to take action, risk falling on your face, but get the most out of your love and sex life. And I know something about you guys that I can't for sure say about the guys in the camera, but you guys are ready. You're here. You invested to be here. I think that's amazing. Really pat yourself on the back for that. You guys the fact that you're here says a lot. Today you'll learn how to think in a way that gives you a huge advantage over 99.9% of men. And I'm not just saying 99.9% because it's big. If you actually take 1,000 guys, 999 do not think, just you guys sitting here, based on the information that you've got just this weekend, you guys think differently than probably 990 out of 1,000 men. So I want to give you that a little bit more of an edge. How to approach a woman, how to keep the conversation going, how to read a woman, when to make the move, how this will affect your lifestyle. I'm going to try to go through all this stuff, and because it's very simple, I think we can get through a lot of it. Think. This is the first thing. We've been hearing this over and over and over. We've had some amazing speakers helping us change our thinking, right? So I think about this a lot different. I think about the process of meeting women and building confidence a lot different than I used to. And the first way I think about it is, well, I talked about being a social genius before, but let's talk about what do you want? Do you want 10 girlfriends? Do you want to get married? Do you want 3-day falling in love flings, traveling around the world? Do you want, crazy sexual experiences? The sky's the limit. You can really have anything you want, but if you don't know what you want, you won't know where to go. And this is key. I hear guys saying all the time, I've heard it at this conference over and over, it makes me cringe. Yeah, let's go out to dirty 6th Street. There's 18-year-old hotties there. And the guy will be like, a dude wearing a suit. Be like, these 18-year-old girls don't want you. They don't want the guy in the suit. They want the frat boy. They want the guy who's getting wasted and, spinning them around and doing crazy shit. They don't want me. I'm pretty good with women. I go out to Dirty 6th Street. I'm not going to do so well. Why? I don't want those girls. They don't want me. I want women that hang out at the W. I want women that are shopping in the nice areas of the city. I live in New York. I go out in the West Village. I go out in the meatpacking. I go out in Soho. I meet most of the women during the day. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I go to women that are looking for me. And it makes my life so much easier. For years and years and years, I just went where the hot women were. And I always wondered why, I would get shot down so often. It's because they're not looking for me. They're looking for the frat guy. They're looking for the biker dude. I used to go to this total biker bar because there were hot biker chicks. Do I look like a biker dude? Like this nerdy guy walking in, my little blazer, hey, what up? To this girl who's all tatted up with crazy shit, and she just looks at me and is like, pfft. And I thought, oh, my opener wasn't any good. No! She doesn't want me. She wants, this dude. It's so important, and you guys really got to think about that. Go where the women want you, because you'll want them too. If women, the same women you want also want you, and that's not a what's the word? Coincidence. It's not a coincidence. So where you go out is probably more important than how good your game is. If you have a guy who has zero game, but he's an iBanker, he's got some money, he knows how to dress, and he goes out to a nice lounge, he's going to do okay. Because women are looking for him. Women will make his life easy. That guy goes to Dirty 6th Street, no good. So let's talk about approaching now. Tell you a quick story. I was walking down, I think 34th Street in New York, right when I moved there. This was probably 5 months ago. And this is 6 o'clock in the evening, still light out, walking home, and I see a girl in Quiznos. All I can see is her back sitting at a table. And she looked amazing from behind. I love brunettes. I couldn't really see anything except her hair and that she was fit, and she looked like she was dressed like a girl I'd want. So it's like, all right, I'm really going to walk into Quiznos and check her out. So how am I going to do this? I figured, okay, well, I can't really see her face, so I'm going to order a water, and then I'll be able to check her out while walking to fill up my water at the fountain, and then if she's cute, I'll hit on her. So that's what I did. I walked by, and she was gorgeous. So I walked up to her, and I said, check this out. I was standing outside. I saw a really cute brunette in Quiznos, but I didn't know what her face looked like. So I went to the cashier. I ordered a water. I filled up my water. Here I am. You're that girl. I'm Robbie. What do you think she did? She cracked up. She smiled. She literally spit food out of her mouth when I said that. Now you guys can probably see a little bit of humor in there, but to a woman, that does not happen very often. You don't get a guy confidently walking up. It's not a pickup line. All I did was literally say what I was doing. There was nothing else there except, this is what I just did to meet you. And she cracked up. We talked for 5 minutes. She introduced me. She actually took me out of the Quiznos, introduced me to her group of friends. I was watching a movie next door. And she did that for a reason. She did that to see if I was a fake or not. She wanted to see how I would interact with her friends. And I ended up going on a date with her a few days later. Date was great. So let's talk about variables. When I first started going out, I didn't really think about what would be easy. I didn't think about if going out with a wingman was easier than going out without a wingman. I didn't really think about going out at night, going out at day. But if you look at anything in life, when you minimize the variables, things become easier, right? Any equation with less variables is less complicated. So in my opinion, the absolute easiest place to meet women is one-on-one during the day. She's sitting in a park with luggage doing absolutely nothing. Now, this doesn't happen very often. It happens in New York quite a bit. You'll have a girl who's just there. She's just moved there. She's a tourist. She's in a park at 2 in the afternoon. She's obviously not working. She's not doing anything. and you know that there's no distractions, there's no competition, there's no flashy, shiny lights that are going to come and interrupt her, make her ADD. There's no cock blocks. Quasimodo, her friend, is not going to pull her away. So the variables are pretty much, this is the least amount of variables, and it is the easiest approach. Now, when I say easiest, I mean logistically easiest. It may not be the easiest for you, because approaching women during the day, at least for me when I got started, was very nerve-wracking. It's not a social environment. You're not supposed to talk to people during the day. At a bar, at a lounge, this is a social environment. You can just walk up and say hi. No one's going to think you're weird because you're in a place to be social. During the day, it's not so much. So it was always really awkward for me at first to even think about approaching a girl during the day, because it just didn't feel right to go up and use a routine. It didn't feel right to just say, hey, who lies more, men or women? Why the fuck are you asking me that during the middle? Who are you? What do you want, right? This is the reaction. If you guys have ever been out shopping and you got approached by some dude with a clipboard and he starts asking you, hey, where are you from? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. You're like, all right, buddy, just ask me for my money. I know what you want. Stop wasting my time. So in a situation during the day, you got to tell her why you're there. You got to be direct. She already knows why you're there. You're going to look like a humongous douche if you do something else. So either walking up and, like I said, saying exactly what you're doing, that's how I do it. I think that's the easiest way. And the best part about that is the act of actually doing it is so insanely good for your confidence, because you're expressing what you want. You're facing your fear. You're walking up and saying, this is what I want out of life, I'm going to go get it. So even if she says, I have a boyfriend or I'm not interested, you're really never going to get like a harsh fuck off rejection. The worst you're going to get is like maybe ignored, maybe sorry, I have a boyfriend. Most women are going to really appreciate the courage you have, the authenticity you're showing. And even if you don't get the number, you're going to build massive confidence from this. So why I call this merging inner and outer game is the action you're taking is not only getting you results, hopefully, but it's also building you. So, more variables at night. You have a wingman. There's more stuff going on. You got to be able to interact with him. There's more girls. There's cock blocks. So, I'm not going to get into all of that right now because we don't have time, but let's talk real quick about direct versus indirect. I think every approach is technically a direct approach. Women are very smart. If you're chatting them up, they know what you want. I wouldn't try bothering to hide my intentions. That doesn't mean I have to say every single time that I want her. I don't have to voice that, but the way I look at her, the way I touch her, these things should all be congruent with what I want. So I can walk up to a girl, and if she's given me eye contact, as Adam Lyons said, if she gave me a third-degree stare, she gives me that love, like the fuck me eyes, I'm not going to walk over and say, hey, I saw you standing there and gave me the fuck me eyes. I'm Robbie. I wanted to come meet you, right? That won't work. It's too ridiculous. It just shows you don't get it. I have not tried that, luckily. So I'll walk up and I'll just be like, hey, I'm Robbie. Shake her hand, hold onto her hand. She knows why I'm there. I don't have to say it. That's a direct approach. My words aren't necessarily direct. I'm not saying anything direct, but that's a direct approach. Day versus night, talked about that. These are some things I like to say in bars. Usually if I'm out and I'm standing with my buddies, I'd rather be talking to girls, right? If you're out with your buddies, especially if you're out to meet women, and you're just talking to them, you're probably not having fun. So if I see a woman I like, I'll just walk up to her and I'll say, so I was standing over there with my buddies. They're not as interesting as you guys. What's up? I'm Robbie. It's a direct approach. They like it. And then I'll be like, actually, they're pretty interesting. Come on over. And I bring them over. Now we're in an interaction. It's super easy, super direct. The other day, when was it? Friday, I was out with a couple of you guys doing some infield work. The guys I was out with saw a girl on a bike. They're like, how do you hit on a girl riding a bike? This is right over here. So she was riding through the intersection. I jumped in front of her, not to scare her or throw off her bike, but she was 10 yards away, and I was like, yo, pull over. So she pulls over. I walk up to her. hey, I was standing with my friends. We saw you on the bike. They thought you were hot. I thought you were cute. And they're like, dude, you should talk to her, but she's on a bike. Whatever. So here I am. I risked my life to do this. I'm Robbie. She cracked up. That was it. It was easy. I said, you look like you're in a rush. She said, yeah, I'm going to a pool party. Where are you from? She asked me. From New York. What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Literally a maybe minute and a half interaction. And I said, I got to go. I got to get back to my friends. You got to go. Let's see each other again. Give me your number. If you don't like me, give me a fake one. When I ask for a number, I say that every time. It's just a fun little thing to do, and you'll never get a fake number. So, and approach anxiety, like I said, if you approach in this manner, you'll crush approach anxiety. If you can walk up to a woman and tell her exactly what you're doing and have the confidence to just lay your balls on the line, risk rejection, you will blast through approach anxiety in a matter of, I'd say, weeks. If you do this 3 times a day, 5 days a week for 3 weeks, you will not have approach anxiety, you'll have approach excitement, which is different. Approach excitement is you're excited to talk to her. You're still going to be nervous. You're always going to be nervous. You're never going to be completely desensitized to it. And if you are, it just means it's no longer something worth doing, right? Who wants to go on the teacup rides at Disneyland? No one. Who wants to go on one of the roller coasters? Everyone. Why? Because it's exciting. It gets your blood going, it gets your heart pumping. So, let's talk about how to keep the conversation going and how to read a woman. Guys ask this question, how do I keep the conversation going? How do I read a woman, or how do I sexually escalate? We'll talk about that next. So, girl on the seawall. This happened a few months ago. Another example of a silly, direct, say what I'm thinking opener. I'm walking with a buddy. We see 2 girls sitting on a seawall. Gorgeous girls. He's like, let's talk to them. And I said, wait a second, we just ate dinner, we had fish, our breath is probably nasty. Let's go get some Tic Tacs at the store, and then we'll come back and hit on them. So what do? We get Tic Tacs, we come back, I walk up to him. Hey, we were walking by like 15 minutes ago, we saw you girls sitting here, we thought you looked cute. Our breaths are disgusting, we just had fish. So we went to the store, got some Tic Tacs, and now we're back to flirt with you. What's up? I'm Robbie. They crack up, I sit down, he sits down. Now, immediately he started getting love from his girl. They were talking, she was into him, she turned to face him. The 2 girls, one was here, my buddy sat here, I sat here. So this girl immediately starts investing in him. I call that investment. She turns to him, she's giving him her time, her energy. My girl, not so much. She was nice, she was friendly, but she's sitting there. She's sitting like this, kind of facing away from me, but she's talking to me. She's investing with her words. She's not investing with her body at all. And from that, at first I was like, okay, she's not into me yet. But because my buddy was doing so well, I stuck around. And it literally took 30 minutes for her to change her body position, start facing me. She offered me a drink of her, she was like drinking ouzo out of a water bottle. She was sharing that with me. So it literally took 30 minutes to get investment. And during that time, all I was doing was really vibing and light rapport. Talking to her about travel, talking to her about where I live, where she's from. Really just having what they call a boring interview conversation. And a lot of people are like, never have boring interview conversations. But if a girl is interested in you and you ask her boring interview questions, they won't be boring because you're interested. And if she's interested, she'll be interested in you too. So this girl was interested. She was investing in me. She was asking me questions. She was sharing with me her life. I was sharing with her. But I didn't know she was interested for sure because her body wasn't interested. You can't trust women's words, but you can trust their body every time. Bodies don't lie, words do. So, like I said, it took 30 minutes to finally start getting some love from her. And in that time, like I said, I was vibing and light rapport. We were in isolation, meaning she was one-on-one with me, her friend was one-on-one with my friend. We weren't having a 4-way discussion. This is a big mistake I see guys make. They go in with a wingman, and they all talk together in one group. It's not going to go anywhere. You have to get the girl alone. And when I say alone, it could literally just mean I'm here, someone's here, the other two people are here. It could just mean, hey, check this out. I point over here, I face my body over here. If she likes me, she'll follow suit. Now we're in isolation, talking, having a one-on-one conversation, not talking to the group. Very important to do that. If you don't do that within the first 5 minutes, first 2 minutes, you're probably not going to go very far with that interaction. And then once you're in isolation, deep rapport. Find out what's she passionate about, what are her hopes, what are her dreams. Be genuinely curious. I mean, you probably are already genuinely curious, but don't think of it as a pickup. Think of it as, this is an amazing woman, and I want to learn more about her. And if you have that attitude, she'll really feel that authenticity, and you guys share with each other your life, it won't be hard to get her into bed once she feels really comfortable with you. She'll get you into bed. Fun games, I'll go back to those in a second. So, actually, let me talk about those now. So, let me finish this story. Girl on the seawall. After about those first 30 minutes where she wasn't giving me a lot of love, suddenly she started giving me more love. She started, like I said, turning her body, and we needed to move. We needed to go somewhere else. So we went to a bar. We got some shots. We went to another bar. We got some more drinks. During that time, we're holding hands. We're walking together. If a girl's willing to hold your hand, she's probably willing to kiss you. If she's willing to interlace her fingers in your fingers, she wants to kiss you. She's hoping to kiss you. And if you don't escalate, as Adam Lyons said, as some of the other speakers said, you're going to quickly look like a wimp. Especially if you approach a girl directly, she expects you to physically escalate. Basically, when you walk up and you say, I like you, and by talking to her, by her talking to you, she's saying, I like you too. If you don't do anything to escalate that interaction, she's going to get turned off. She's expecting you to, so you have to. So what I did in this one is I screwed up. I didn't escalate. And I missed the window there. And I knew I had to get that window back. I knew I couldn't just lunge in for the kiss because that'd be weird. It didn't feel like the right time. Check in with yourself. If it doesn't feel like the right time, it's not the right time. So, we played a fun game. I call it the ice game. I learned this from a random group of people in Germany. And the ice game is very simple. You get people around a table, there's a bucket of ice, and there's a thing of alcohol, bottle of alcohol. And it goes guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, girl. And you don't tell them what you're doing. You just say, we're playing the ice game. Guys grab ice. Guys put ice in their mouth. They turn to the girl. They pass the ice without using their hands. So it's like spin the bottle. It's a stupid game, but because it's a game, women like to play it. It's not them making out. You're just passing ice, right? It's no longer them being responsible for sex. You're leading, you're just passing ice. And if a girl doesn't like you, she'll still play. She'll just get the ice really fast. She'll grab the ice and spit it in your mouth if she has to. But if she likes you, she'll pass the ice and it'll linger. And if you're not sure if you can kiss a girl and you're with a group of people, it's a real fun way to test the waters. If you're ever in that no man's land situation, by no man's land I mean you don't know if you can escalate or not, don't stay there. Do something. Put her to a decision. Escalate, do something small, and she'll give you feedback. So in this situation, we played the ice game. She was real into it. We started making out, had a good night. Another great thing to do if you're kind of in that weird situation where you're in no man's land, body shots. You guys know what body shots are? Tequila shots. You lick her neck. You put salt on her neck. She puts the lime in her mouth. You lick her neck to get the salt, you take the shot, and you basically kiss her to get the lime. If she doesn't like you, she won't play. You say, hey, let's take some body shots. She'll be like, no, I don't want to. She doesn't like you. If she's like, okay, she likes you. It's easy stuff, You can skip a lot of pain of figuring out when to kiss a girl if you do something intermediately. And then another great game that I like to play for deep rapport is, when I first learned it, it was called the questions game. And the questions game is just a game that most of you guys probably played when you were 6 or 7 years old. It's like truth or dare without the dare. I ask a question, you ask a question. You go back and forth. I have 3 rules that I made up. 1, you have to be honest. 2, you have to answer the question that you asked. 3, you have to ask a question that makes the other person potentially embarrassed or nervous. So what happens very quickly is you get into very deep rapport. You start talking about sex. That comes up very quickly. Talking about sex in an interaction with a girl will make her think about sex with you. Don't talk about sex with her. Don't talk about disgusting porn and crap like that. This isn't attractive. I learned this the hard way. There's a way to talk about sex and there's a way not to. That's a whole other speech. But playing this game will, you ask her, you know, have you ever been in jail? What's the craziest thing you've done? You'll get to know somebody very quickly. And if you're not naturally good at getting into deep rapport, you know, a tool like this can be really helpful. Physical escalation, when to make the move. Probably 2 years ago, I was out at a bar in Venice. And it was called The Brig. I walk in the door. There's a dance floor. Right past the dance floor, there's a bar. Girl looks at me at the bar and just gives me the biggest type 3, you know, I want you eyes I've ever seen. Like, I'm not doing it right. She's looking at me and she's smiling and just giving me that like amazing feminine sexual look. So I walk up to her, hey, I'm Robbie. Shake her hand. She's immediately into me. She's like nuzzling up against me. It's great. Like an idiot, after about 3 minutes, I decided that I was going to go talk to my friend. And, of course, when I came back, she's dirty dancing with the biggest black dude I've ever seen. So, I'm like, dang, that sucks. My buddy goes, no, man, just talk to her. Just wish her a good evening. Interrupt her on the dance floor. Wish her a good evening. Tell her it was nice to meet her. The guy he's not going to kick your ass if you say that. So I said, fine. I was still a little bit scared he was going to. So I basically stopped them. She was like humping this guy who's 8 feet tall. And I stopped them and I say, hey, it was really nice meeting you earlier. I'm going to run. She immediately turns her back to this guy who was just her friend. And he wasn't hostile or anything. He just kind of walked away. And full investment again. I'm back in. So I'm thinking, well, thank God my friend told me not to be a pussy. This is great. So then the interaction gets interesting. We're up against the bar, and she takes her hand and cups my balls. She just goes, wham! not in like a I'm gonna hook up with you way, in like a I'm gonna rip your balls off you way. It's never happened to me before. I'm like, So I grab her by the hair, you know, as forcefully as she did to me, and I try to pull her in to kiss her, and she slaps my hand away and like jumps back. Like, whoa, what is going on here? This is strange. So I'm like a deer in the headlights at this point. Then she comes back over, and she grabs me by the face like this, and she's like shaking my head around. I'm like, this girl's psycho, what is going on? But then I remembered, I was like, okay, stay calm, stay grounded, stay cool, and obviously this girl is into you. She's showing massive investment, and she wants to play. Just let her seduce me. This is a big thing that I did wrong for a long time, was that I felt like I was the one who had to seduce her. Women will seduce you. They're better at conversation than you. They will lead the conversation. They're probably better at physical escalation than you. They can lead physical escalation. So your only job is to get them to like you. And you do that by approaching them in an authentic, direct way. You create attraction. And a lot of the time, you can just put it on autopilot after that. So this crazy, physical banter went on for about 20 more minutes, where she started actually trying to kick me in the balls. Then I got pissed. At a certain point, I got pissed, and I wasn't going to stay just cool and collected anymore. I was like, listen, you can fuck around with me, but do not try to kick me in the balls. And she kind of, in a weird way, melted. She was like, okay, I can't fuck with this guy, because I think she was kind of toying with me up until that point. She was just having fun. And that's when she realized, okay, this guy is serious. He actually has balls. He's willing to set a boundary. And then she got real feminine. She kind of nuzzled up against me. We started making out. And then she got crazy again and tried to pull me in the bathroom. Well, she did pull me in the bathroom, but I'm not a big fan of sex and dirty bathrooms, so I went back to my house. But what I learned from this interaction was something very interesting, and that was that you don't have to try every time. You don't have to do everything. If you're just relaxed, you're a cool guy, let her seduce you. Some women want to be seduced. Other women want to seduce you. Every woman is different. Escalating on a woman is not a step-by-step process. Every girl's different. And you have to think. You have to think, who is this girl? What does she want? What is she like? It was obvious that this girl wanted sex that night. If I started trying to have a deep rapport conversation with her after she tried to grab my nuts, oh, so what are your hopes and dreams and passions? Weird, right? Think about this stuff. You don't have to go deep rapport every time. You got to read the woman. If she's into dancing and partying and having a crazy time, then that's what you have to do. If you're at a lounge and it's dark and it's quiet, that's when you have the deep rapport conversation, not when she's out on the street. And for the longest time, like I said, I thought about it as a step-by-step process. It's not. You have to be able to switch gears. You have to be able to read her. And this is really the mastery, I think, when it comes to seduction and meeting women, is being able to read what's different about her. How does she want to be seduced? Is she going to seduce me? How am I going to deal with her friends? She's driving. She's got 4 girls that she's taking home. Am I going to try to make out with her here and pull her in the bathroom? No. She's sober. She's responsible for her friends. I'm going to get her number and take her on a date. Think ahead. Think about what you're doing. Don't just haphazardly go into a bar and start shotgun approaching every chick in there. See the situation, right? She's with 2 girls. Don't go in with a wingman. What happens if you go in with a wingman when there's 3 girls? One of them is left out. One of them has no one to talk to. Or you or your wing is stuck talking to 2. How can you isolate 2 at one time? You can't. The 5th wheel in this situation will cock block you every single time, unless she happens to be a woman with, she's really social and she doesn't mind being by herself. She'll just go meet some new people. Most women aren't like that. Most women came with their friends. They want to talk to their friends. So this woman who's left out will start competing with her friend's attention. Who's going to win? She'll win, right? They're loyal to her. She just met you. So if you're 2 guys, you approach groups of 2, 4, 6. If you're by yourself, you approach girls of 1, 3, 5. If you're with 3 guys, you approach of 3. Always make an even number on the end. Simple things like that can make a humongous difference. Think. That's I want you guys to think. Learning through failures. Every time you fail, you get information. That information, if you think about it and assess it, especially if you have a mentor or a coach, somebody who can show you how to analyze the information, you'll learn. Every night you go out, you'll improve. If you talk to one girl and you're direct and you're putting yourself out there in an authentic way, you will improve, 100% guaranteed. Her body never lies. Remember, you can't trust her words, but you can trust her body. If she's willing to interlace her fingers with you and she's calling you the biggest prick she's ever met, she'll still make out with you. She's playing with you. If she says, I have a boyfriend, when she's got one hand on your hip and she's looking up at you like that, it means let's be discreet and hook up. If she says in a sexy way, I have a boyfriend, but she's standing like this, she has a boyfriend and she's telling you to leave. What does no mean? No sometimes means now, or not now, or never. Depending on how she says no, it can mean not now. Like, no, that's not now. No is never. It's her body. You have to read her body, read her tonality. Nathan talked about tonality and body language, stuff like that. Don't just listen to her words. It's very important you read her body. If you can read her body, you can read her emotions. End of story. And it's good to get rejected. Every time you get rejected, you face embarrassment and shame. Embarrassment and shame is evidence that you are growing as a person. When I come up to speak, I love it because I'm putting myself in an embarrassing, potentially shameful situation. I could say something retarded, you guys could all hate me, and at least I'd walk out and I would say, you know what, I grew today. It was uncomfortable, but I grew. You will build confidence if you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation every single day. Just one. You will grow faster in that year or month than you would in 5 or 10 years by doing that. And you'll feel incredibly alive and happy. It's just amazing. Let's talk about what confidence is very quickly. Who's confident that the sun will come out tomorrow? Why? Because it has every single day, right? That's confidence. Confidence is knowing. Knowing comes from repeated wins, stacking up wins, knowing that things are going to happen as you want them to happen. Whose confidence is going to rain tomorrow? The weatherman says 30% confident, which probably is nowhere even close. We're not confident because it doesn't happen all the time. So if I go out to meet women and I usually strike out, can I be confident? No. Doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter if I pump myself up and look in the mirror and say, you're confident, you're confident, you're confident. I'm going to know deep down, you're not confident. She's not going to like you. So do the things that you know you need to do to be confident. Lose that weight. Go to the gym. Approach women in a direct way. Put your balls on the line. You will grow as a guy. You will grow very quickly. Do the things you know you need to do. The confidence will come. The results will come. And when the results come, the confidence is insane. Eventually, you'll get to a point where you know you're going to go out and you're going to meet one amazing girl. Every time. And that feels really good. If you go out during the day, I know if I approach 10 women, I'm going to sleep with one. I know that because statistically, that's what happens. I'm always going to sleep with at least one. 5 are going to have boyfriends. 5 are going to be married. They're not going to be interested. That leaves 5 left out of 10. One of those girls is just not going to be open to a guy hitting on her on the street. Maybe she's antisocial. Maybe she's a little bit weird. So now I'm left with 4 out of 10. And I know if I come across in a direct and authentic way, there's a really good chance those 4 will like me. If I'm nervous, if I'm scared, if I'm just doing this stuff, if I'm new at this, it's not going to be 4 out of 10. It might be 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. And that's getting a number. That's creating attraction. And then out of those 4, right, you're probably not going to hook up with all of them, but at least 1 usually. You know, it's a numbers game. Play the numbers. You're not going to pick up every girl. It's impossible. The biker chick does not like the investment banker, right? He can't pick her up unless she's secretly in love with investment bankers. There's no amazing pickup artist that can get every girl. It just doesn't happen. So be smart about it. Managing your haters, real quick on this. As you get better at this stuff, as you become more confident, people aren't going to like you. For the longest time in my life, it was not okay if someone didn't like me. I felt like I was a bad guy. And I would always be just, really docile, really passive. I wouldn't ask for what I wanted. I wouldn't, be honest with people. And I didn't have any haters. But I also didn't have any people that were really, really enthralled by me. So Judge Judy, great example. There's a lot of people that hate Judge Judy, but how successful is she? She used to battle Oprah for the top-rated, TV person year in and year out. And what's her thing? She's honest, she's direct, she's no bullshit. She tells it like it is. You may not like her, but you'll respect her. If you're honest, if you're authentic, some people won't like you. Too tough for them. They'll respect you. That's more important. Some of your friends won't like you if you get into this. I have a lot of friends that they're no longer friends because they were jealous. They didn't like the fact that I was growing. And these guys, it's okay. They didn't want to grow. I don't hold it against them, but we're just no longer friends anymore, and you have to be willing to face that. Your lifestyle. When I was working at the investment bank, I was working 80 hours a week. I couldn't go out every night. So I went out every day on my lunch. and I talk to 3 girls at the mall. You have to make time for this stuff. You have to do it consistently. It's just like working out. You can't go to the gym for 1 weekend and get in shape. You can't eat healthy for 2 weeks and get in shape. It takes 3 months minimum. You're changing your lifestyle. Last thing is failure. Why people fail? Fear. Not facing your fear, not having a plan. Have a plan. If the plan's wrong, who cares? You can change the plan later. At least have a plan. No follow-through. If you don't actually execute your plan or execute your plan in a consistent way, the plan won't do any good. And not making it a priority. If you want to succeed at something, you have to make it a priority in your life. If you want to get out of your 9-to-5 and start a new career, you have to set aside time to start a blog, build a business, build a list. If it's just some hobby that you work on 3 hours a week, it's never going to take off. If you want to get good with women, you got to do this stuff 5 times a week. If you want to get in shape, you have to eat healthy and go to the gym. You have to, put in the effort. So I want to offer you guys something. I do what's called a free strategy session. And just from talking to you guys, interacting with you guys, I know so much about where you are with women because it's really about social skills. And what I'll do on this free call is ask you a bunch of questions, figure out your situation, and then give you strategies to improve. It's free for the first 5 guys to email me. Just send it to there. Oops, let me go back. Robbie@innerconfidence.com. And I think I have a few minutes for questions.
Give Robbie a round of applause.
Thanks, guys.
In the beginning, first of all, thanks for the speech.
Yeah.
It's great. In the beginning, you touched about the outliers, and it was interesting. You said you noticed little things. You coined yourself a social genius.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just touch upon a couple specific things you'd say you notice now that are different from when you began?
Yeah, I talked about a few of them. Just that simple thing about if you're by yourself approaching groups of 3 or 5 or 1. For the longest time, I would go out by myself and I'd approach a group of 2 girls, and I'd wonder why I'd always get cock-blocked. Simple. The other girl is no one to talk to. If I was talking with a group of women with a friend and we were having a group conversation, I would wonder why I didn't go anywhere. Simple. No isolation. You notice little things. You notice when a woman is talking to you, but she's always glancing away. And she's not interested at that point, even if she's sounding like she is. She's not interested. So being a social genius is really just recognizing patterns. That's it. And the only way to recognize patterns is to have experience. Do it over and over, and you'll recognize those patterns faster if someone can point them out to you beforehand, because then you'll see them, you'll know what to look for. Yeah.
Hi. So I just wanted to thank you again for offering your service yesterday for free, and it was the least I could do to say that he watched my approach over and over and offered me really precise feedback. So it was very, very valuable to me. And this weekend is the first time I've ever had a coach actually look at my style. And I think one of the things that a lot of us are doing is it's just like working out. We just go in the gym and we just lift heavy things and call it good. And then we're not happy with our results. So that's what I've been doing for the past year and a half, is just shotgunning this crap. And no guidance. I'm just stabbing in the dark and maybe something's happening. So, it was really helpful to get that precise feedback and that precise, step by step by step. And then the other thing I just want to mention was you said about doing the hard stuff. When I'm in a really crappy mood, and I don't know if you can kind of speak to this, when I'm in a really crappy time in my life, or really crappy, just a real low, it's because I'm not making any approaches. I'm not doing any of I may be trying to align my chakras. We all know that going out and trying to pick up chicks is what will give us that. And I can always tell how I'm doing by how confident, how happy I am. And I know as soon as we're rejection or not, it doesn't matter whether I'm rejected or accepted. It's whether or not I'm making those actions. So I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you're feeling like shit, if you know you're just dealing with a lot of negative emotions, go out, do something physical. Approaching women is a physical activity. This is a sport. It's not. It's closer to a sport than it is to learning math or learning science. It's a physical act. And doing anything physical, like if I'm in a bad mood, I go out, I play ice hockey. I smash into dudes. It's amazing. It's like the most therapeutic thing. Move your body, go to the gym, lift heavy shit. Don't just sit there and dwell in your emotions. You know, it's good to sit there and reflect and, you know, think about your emotions, but go out and take action. As guys, we're very action-oriented. If we take action, we're usually happy. And especially if it's action in the areas that matter most to us. So thanks for adding that, Mark.
Hey, Robbie, thank you for
Yeah.
the great speech. So you said something that really rang true for me, and that's what I call segmenting the market. But you said it in a different way. It's go where you're a better fit for the opposite sex. Like the 18-year-olds down 6th Street aren't going to be a fit. They certainly aren't for me
Right.
at my age.
And you're not interested in them either.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up, because I don't know if that's really rung true in this, you know, in the year that I've been kind of following this stuff. I just haven't really picked that up, but I picked it up kind of on my own. It's like, this stuff isn't working. This shotgun approach and going to the wrong venues just doesn't work. And so thanks for saying that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you realized that too. I think we got to wrap it up. Or one more. We have time for one more question. Go ahead.
My question is, you're talking about how you were in that set for a while, and she kind of took a while to open up to you with her body. So how do you know when you should just leave and give up and just, you know, play the numbers game, or when you should just stay and keep just plowing and, you know, getting her to finally show interest? How do you draw that line?
Yeah, in that situation, to be honest, I would have left if it wasn't for the fact that my wingman was locked in with his girl. The entire time I'm sitting there beating myself up thinking, this girl doesn't like me, what did I do wrong, this sucks. But at least she was talking to me. There was never an awkward silence where we were just sitting there doing nothing. She was still investing something. If she's investing even a little bit, take that as a sign of interest. Like I said, I would have left in that situation, and that would have been the wrong move, obviously, because eventually she warmed up and it was amazing. But if she's not, some girls just won't do it. This girl was exceptionally beautiful. She had been hit on that entire week, which I found out later, just guy after guy after guy, and she was on guard. And it literally took her 30 minutes to realize, like, okay, this guy's cool, he's confident, he gets it, I'm gonna open up to this guy. And that's when she did. And I just kept trying to remind myself, all right, stay in, be a good wingman, and eventually it worked out. Now, if it had gotten awkward, meaning she started giving me one-word answers, she just completely stopped investing in me, then trying to stay there for your wingman or your buddy is not a good idea, because that girl will ruin the interaction for her friend and for your friend. She'll get bored, she'll start competing with her friend's attention, and your friend will lose that war, that battle. So what you should do, what my wingman should have done, well, if that would have happened, right? If you have to not only, if you really want to be a social genius, you not only have to be aware of what's going on with you and her, you have to be aware of what's going on with your wingman and his girl. And if you see that it's awkward between them, don't try to continue the interaction with your girl, because eventually she'll sabotage it. So get her number, talk to her later. And yeah, I guess that's it. Get her number, talk to her later. Make sure you're aware of everything going on. Like once you really start getting these skills, you won't have to think about them, right? Like I don't really have to think that much about whether a girl's interested in me or not. I just feel it. It's like driving a stick, right? When you know when to take your foot off the clutch and when to accelerate, because you can feel it. In the beginning, you can't really feel it. You got to time it. You got to look at the tachometer. Eventually, you get the feeling in your body. That only comes from practice. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much.